everyone. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. My name is Shola, and we're joined today by Roni Robbins. Hi, Roni. How are you? You're welcome onto our show.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's exciting.
Thank you so much for coming on our show. And Ronnie's going to be sharing our journey, which I'm very sure is going to be inspiring and engaging. So I'm going to leave it to her to really introduce herself. But she's on about preserving a family history and surviving adversity. I'll leave it at that because I think it's sweeter from the horse's mouth. So, Ronnie, I'm going to leave it to you. Introduce yourself and let us know you better.
Great, thank you. So I am a 36-year author. No, I should say I'm a 36-year journalist and a new author. It took me 20 years, not quite 36 years, to write my novel. So most of the time that I've been a writer, I've also been an author or trying to get a book published. My grandfather left cassette tapes of his life for the family and his adventures in Europe and America. And I used that to create a novel. And I weaved the fact together with fiction, changed all the names. What made the story compelling to me was that they died on the same exact day as each other. My grandfather and his wife died on the same exact day, a year apart. They had a 60-year marriage together in which she was the breadwinner at times when he was a test case for TB, tuberculosis experimental drug called streptomycin, which is still used today. He was told he was terminal at 26, but he lived till 86. So in that time, they had their love story and they raised 5 children. They lost one of them. They went through a lot of heartbreak and struggles financially and also health-wise. They lost most of their family in the Holocaust. So there's that in the book too. It is Holocaust fiction, published in 2022 by Amsterdam Publishers, the largest publisher of European memoirs, memoirs, and it's based in Europe. So Holocaust memoirs. So it's preserving the history of those who most of them are no longer alive, those that survived the Holocaust. My grandfather escaped the Holocaust. He got out of there before it started, so did my grandmother. But they had to hear about all their family dying overseas. What's that like, that kind of guilt? And so it's a family saga. It's an adventure story. It's a story of determination against the odds of survival. And so it's won 6 awards, and it's in the Holocaust Museum, U.S. Holocaust Museum. And I've been on stage with some big name authors like Nikki Haley, who ran for office. Oh, yeah, she was running, but then she dropped out of office here. Nikki Haley. Andrew Young, a former Atlanta superstar and political, pretty sure he was mayor, but also there was a bunch of Melissa Rivers, who's the daughter of Joan Rivers, the comedian, and also Bernie Marcus, Benjamin Netanyahu is in the news now with what's going on in Israel. And there's a lot of history repeating itself. That's probably a good synopsis.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for introducing yourself and sharing a bit about your story. Your grandfather, right? I know he's got a very remarkable story. So what actually inspired you to turn that into a survivor story, into a novel? I mean, now, and how did his journey resonate with today's global conflicts?
So like I said, history repeats itself. So he was born in Hungary, which at the time was going through Russia was overtaking that whole area. So all of that area was eventually became the Ukraine,
Mm.
Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and a bunch of other places ended up being incorporated into Ukraine. But in the story, I say Russia seems to like to fight everyone. Well, why does that seem familiar now with what's going on in Russia and Ukraine? And the Holocaust story, what happened in Israel, about a year ago now, is October 7th is now considered a very small version of a Holocaust in the fact that people are being persecuted and killed because of their religion. And also, there's some thoughts questionable about land, who owns the land and who deserves to have the land. And so those kind of conflicts are still going on, and they were going on back then. And so nothing really has changed in the world in that way. And also, streptomycin is a treatment for TB, and tuberculosis is still the world's largest infectious disease killer. We think it's COVID, but it's not. Tuberculosis is still the biggest killer in terms of infectious diseases worldwide. And so that it's COVID is more something we're dealing with now, RSV and a bunch of other health upper respiratory illnesses, but they were going on back then too. So like I said, nothing really has changed. In the names may be different, the players may be different, but the same themes are returning.
Wow. Wow. Do you know that's a high opener though? So I never thought about it that way.
Well, hatred still exists in the world,
Mm.
and people like to fight with each other somehow, it seems.
True. Very true. That's very true. That's very, very true. Very true. Oh my
Yes.
God. As a seasonal journalist that you are, how did you navigate the shift from reporting facts to waving a fictional narrative in hands of gold?
Well, I used all the skills that I've developed as a journalist, all my investigative skills, all my storytelling skills. I rolled them all up and put them in there and then made up things that we're not supposed to make up. In journalism, you stick to the facts. I had some of the facts, I used the facts as the basis, but then I decided to make it more dramatic, and played with some of the facts, and also weaved in a few of my own. But it goes back to the skills that I developed as a journalist, and and interviewing people too. I did do some interviews, and the cassette tapes of my grandfather were a sort of interview. So it really was built on my journalism, and then I expanded it to try something new and branch into a new area. Definitely a challenge. Hmm.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. What was the most challenging moment in the process of transforming your family's history into a story? What was the most challenging moment for you?
Making up dialogue, for sure. Making up dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm used to quoting somebody, and had limited ability to do that. My grandfather was no longer alive, and those that were alive I could quote, but so I did some of that. But as far as what they might have talked about back then, I had to really get into the mind of not only my grandfather, but being a woman, and getting into the mind of a man, because it follows him along from childhood, through the end. And so trying to imagine what the thoughts of a man are were difficult. And so I had to channel all of that. and I'll probably do it again because my second book is going to be loosely based on my dad. And so apparently I like to channel men. I feel comfortable enough having a son and a husband and having, dated a bit and, the rest of the men in my life to take some liberties with their thoughts.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. That is so interesting. Oh my goodness.
Think about it.
Oh
You're around them, you
yeah.
know
Oh,
what
yeah.
they're,
I just wonder what your dad would say if he was still here. Oh, you
well,
dad.
I don't know. They might not, they might be shaking their heads and not liking it actually. So there's no telling. I mean, I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
they'll be proud of you though.
oh, maybe, but they probably didn't intend me to intend for me to do with their stories what I did and may do. I think there's a question mark what I might do with my dad's story. So I haven't fully developed that yet.
Okay, we'll be in the lookout for that. For people that might want to purchase your book, Hands of Gold, how can they purchase it and where?
So, sure. So it's available on Amazon and every place that books are sold. So I assume that you'll be able to get it in the UK too. I know Amazon has a UK division of sorts. They know it's there. So, but it is available. Also, Amsterdam Publishers has it. But any place you would buy a book. So for us in the United States, that's Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, Target, Walmart. It's online with all of those places. And and also you can contact me through my website, www.ronirobbins.com. You got to spell my name right because it's tricky. RoniRobbins.com. I'm on Facebook, either as Roni Robbins, Roni Kane Robbins. My maiden name was Kayne, or Hands of Gold. So I've got 4 Facebooks. I've got 2 Twitters. Hopefully you'll be able to find me. And I've got Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, probably missing a few, X. So you should be able to find me either through my name or through the book name or as either as an author or as a journalist, because I'm still writing stories for newspapers and online publications.
Oh, great. Oh my goodness, that is so great. Thank you so much for sharing your contact details there and how we can get our hands on the book. How has the Hands of Gold been received by your family? Especially those who are alive now. How has that?
Yes. So most of them are, 99% of them are supportive.
Yeah.
And I've asked a few of them, what do you think?
Mhm.
And I played around with some of the facts and there might be some questionable information.
Right.
And I do know that my one cousin said it's fiction, right? But I did have an aunt that probably wasn't too happy with how I depicted her mom.
Oh.
Yes. And there is a little secret here. There was sex involved in this book. There was sex involved in their relationship. So I think, when you hear about your parents, that how did we get here? They don't want to know all that. And that's cringy maybe for them, cringeworthy. But I needed to make them real people with real, experiences. So I did.
Wow. Wow. Oh.
So yes, some touchiness. Not everyone is a total supporter.
Mm.
Not been sued yet,
You haven't been
thankfully.
sued yet. Hopefully
No,
you won't be
no,
sued.
no. But like I said, the others are super supportive, and I've had cousins that I didn't know existed come and tell me, come find me and say they saw, they read the book, they thought it was very real to them. It felt like, their relatives. So I thought that was good. Most of them I didn't offend. I might have offended a few.
Maybe those that you depicted within the pages, those you will have offended one way or the other.
Not all, not only one, only really one that I know about. So,
Okay. Okay.
mhm.
That's good then. That's good. So
I guess,
good.
I
Yeah.
guess there's a lot of characters in the book. So yeah,
Okay. Oh, that is
let's not try to change their mind about it, but it's out there. So
What advice would you give to aspiring authors and journalists who wish to capture and preserve family history in a meaningful way? Because yours is in a meaningful way. It's not just all about fiction. I mean, you've added some fiction in there, but it's still about real story. It's still about a real person, and you brought that all to life. So, how can you advise, or what advice would you give?
just do it. Nike commercial, just do it. Try to record your family history, not on a cassette tape anymore, but, some way, video or leave something behind. Let them leave something behind, because it's important to understand where you came from and who you are. And I think that the families will appreciate it if there's something beyond the pictures, which will fade, or we don't know who those people are in the pictures anymore. Leaving stories behind, I think it's important. So do that. Do your research, careful research, because you don't want anyone coming after you and telling you got it wrong if you're going back into history. Get an LLC to protect yourself against anyone who might not agree with you or how you've presented things. You have to make that decision whether you want to go full force on saying it's the history or that it's fiction, and then you can just make stuff up and fudge, and it gives you a little bit more freedom that way. But and you don't have to get published. Just pass it to your children. I think it's important to know where you came from. So I would just say, if this is something that's within you, don't let time get in your way. Carve out time to do it. And it took me 20 years. I hope it doesn't have to take them 20 years. But I was also raising my kids and building my career too at the same time. So, or continuing my career at the same time. So I wish it hadn't taken so long, but just do it. Just do it if that's what you want to do. If that's your dream, do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Right. Great. Thank you so much for coming on our show today. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. And until next time, it's Shola and Roni on mission to inspire. Before we go, Roni, is there anything else you would like to say to our audience out there?
Get hands of gold in your golden hands, I would say. And make sure you appreciate your loved ones while they're alive, and then make sure that you honor them after they're gone in whatever way suits you. But don't ever forget the people that came before.
Don't forget the people that came before. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people forget the people who were before because they live in the present. But yeah, never forget them. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. And until next time, it's Roni and Shola on mission to inspire. Continue to download, listen, and like our podcast. And especially this one, you need to listen. You just need to listen all the way to the end and share it with your friends. The power of storing family history and preserving it. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Like, follow, comment. Until next time. Goodbye.